Phnom Penh in glorious colour, 1973. We had to put 1973 because people coming in and seeing this splash of colour in the middle of the black and white somehow seem to think that these must be taken yesterday, and all the others were old photographs. But this was the only colour film that I shot in the 2 years that I was here. And I don't know how I got the film. Colour film was difficult to get, it was expensive, and but I got one. So I used it to take pretty pictures. There are not many people in these pictures. It's all postcard pictures, isn't it? What you get from a tourist postcard shop. In front of the Royal Palace there was a monument. That's the white building. In the centre is a statue of the Monkey King. I'm not sure if it's Vali or Sugriva, a Monkey King fighting a buffalo demon. And the Monkey King won. This is the Independence Monument. The statue was south of the Independence Monument. But it's not there now. It's been replaced by a lion, a small lion, and not very interesting lion. But this very interesting statue has disappeared. So where is it? We've heard it could be in Kampong Cham, but we haven't been there to look yet. Or it might be in some rich person's garden. This was the season of the flame trees. So it would be April or May. There were many flame trees all over Phnom Penh then. Nowadays there are not so many. Street 240 next to the palace. And this is a Vietnamese tank. The Vietnamese tank was a souvenir from Lon Nol's first campaign. It was used as propaganda to show the victory of the Lon Nol army. Pailin. I think early in 1974, it was in the dry season, in the cool season, so maybe January, February 1974. I had a chance to get a helicopter ride to Pailin. I knew nothing about Pailin, just that it was outside Phnom Penh, and I jumped at any chance to get out and go somewhere different for a change. So my girlfriend had she knew a helicopter pilot, and she got us a ride on the helicopter to Pailin. We arrived late in the afternoon one day, and the next day we spent in Pailin. And we stayed in this place. It was an army barracks, and these were new recruits. You can see that only I think one of them's got a helmet. Yeah, one of them's got a helmet. Some of the others have got uniforms or bits of uniforms. How many people have got boots? Well, probably not so many. This was the general situation with the Republican Army. I think we had coffee at the nearby B52 cafe. When we went back to Pailin, people thought this was very funny, the B-52 cafe. They said, no, it's not there anymore. But there is a B-52 coffee shop, which is completely different. It's full of young teenagers and listening to latest pop music. This beautiful building in Burmese style was, I've been told, was probably the house of a rich gem merchant. Now in Pailin, there were lots of Shan and Burmese people, gem traders, who had come from Burma, now Myanmar, to Pailin to find, buy and sell precious stones. And they were given the covering name of Kola people. Kola people are not actually a single minority, as the Tourist Information Bureau might tell you now. They were just a mixture of people from Burma, different parts of Burma, who came because of the stones. And they started coming in the late 19th century, and about half the population at least were Kola until the 1940s or 50s. And then Thai and Chinese and Cambodian traders slowly pushed them out. So by this time there were still Kola people in Pailin, but not so many. But their buildings were still here. And this is the gateway to the temple on top of the mountain. This is the mountain, and the temple is here, and the gateway is down behind these trees. That might be part of the gateway, with nagas outside and some lions and a dog, a little boy and a girl with a big smile. Well, things have changed a little bit. The nagas are still there, but the front of the gate has trees growing in front of it now, so you can't see it. In the temple at the bottom of the mountain, a separate temple, on the roof of the temple I found these guardians. And one of them was quite conventional, but the other one was holding an unusual weapon for a legendary giant. And it actually looks like a Russian rifle rather than an American one. AK-47 Kalashnikov. Well, when we went back, we found the guardians, but the weapon had gone. And now he's holding a rather boring looking, something that looks like a vegetable. It's a poor substitute for the AK-47. We showed these pictures to the head monk, and he had never seen them before. He had never seen the gun. One interesting thing here is that in the old picture, there are a lot of houses behind the temple. But in the recent picture, there's nothing. The houses have all gone. It's usually the opposite. You know, houses are built, so recent pictures have more houses in them. But in this case, the opposite happened. Maybe the location of the town moved somewhat, I don't know. Well, we found a river where people were panning, and there were a number of these suspension bridges. In this photograph, we've got lunch here, and panning full of gravel from the bottom of the river. This was interesting, but I was not prepared for what we came to next. We came out at this place in the river where there were hundreds of people panning for gemstones. Going back to Pailin, we couldn't find a river like this at all. It's now become a small stream. There have been hydropower projects, the watercourse has changed, and there are not many gemstones anymore. And there we have people. She's got a coconut under her arm here. She used the coconut to pour water through the basket, wash out some of the loose gravel, and she might find some stones. They used to find sapphires and rubies, but even at this time, the best they could expect would be garnets, probably, semi-precious red stones. And next, I had one film, as usual. I had one film, and so that's all I took in Pailin in that one day. But I took 4 photographs, almost in the same place. And it was partly this girl. I don't know why she fascinated me so much. Maybe one reason was that she didn't look at me. Because actually, nearly everyone was looking at me. I was the only foreigner in Pailin, I think, and so I attracted attention, especially as I had a camera and I was taking photographs. But she didn't look at me. Yeah. This is very characteristic. In Pailin, on every street corner, you would see people like in this pose. So they were holding a gemstone, looking at gemstones like this. And in their top pockets would be bundles of dollars, American dollars. It was like a cowboy town, really. Lots of money. The prices were twice as much as Phnom Penh. And it had a nightlife. It had Filipino rock and roll bands, and yeah, it's the same girl. But finally, she did look. And she didn't look very friendly at all. I hope she found a nice precious stone and she was able to keep it. Because these people were not freelance, they were working for, they had bosses, they had supervisors. Now, this guy is Kola. He's Burmese, you can see because of the headdress, the clothes. And there's another one here wearing this turban. Yeah, they would be Kola people. And I didn't know anything about the Kola people at that time. Now, here we have a happy gentleman, and I guess he's happy because he found something good. Whether he was able to keep it or how much profit he could get out of it, I don't know. The guy behind him, sitting up here, is one of the overseers. He's not working much, he's just watching the others to make sure they don't pocket any gemstones. Over the other side of the river, this was probably, I think he was the big boss, with his Hawaiian shirt, his golfing cap, and his dark glasses. They were watching me, and they were watching everyone. So I decided not to be too obvious taking photographs of them. Well, my last day in Phnom Penh. It came rather suddenly because I thought I was going to stay until the Khmer Rouges came, because there seemed to be no way I could leave anyway. There was no point in me staying, practically, because I had no job anymore. School was closed, and so there was no reason there for me to stay. But I wanted to stay. I didn't want to leave. My students had to stay, and my Cambodian friends had to stay. And I thought, I could have left before, but I didn't. So I was resigned to the fact that, wait for the Khmer Rouges. But then an offer came up of a place on an empty rice plain. Now, rice plains were C-130 aircraft, cargo aircraft, that were coming into Pochentong airport every day, a few times a day, and they were dropping rice on the runway, dropping rice and munitions, and then they would take off with people. There were no seats, but you could get a space on the plane. So I had to decide whether to do this or not, and I decided eventually because my neighbors, my Cambodian neighbors, thought that I was a CIA agent. They thought I was working for the CIA because I didn't go to bed early. I stayed up late at night. They could see the light in my house late at night, and they thought, what's he doing? Must be sending secret messages. Of course, I was reading books or listening to music, but when I found out, when my girlfriend told me that the neighbours thought I was CIA, I just thought it was funny, and I didn't contradict them. And it wasn't a bad thing at that time. They didn't mind me being a CIA agent. And but then I thought, if the Khmer Rouges come to town and all the foreigners are there, the Khmer Rouges might start asking questions about the foreigners, and my neighbours would say, oh yeah, he's a CIA agent. So it was that decided me to play safe and take the plane out. And in retrospect, well, I always regretted that I didn't stay, because my friend Nauki Mabuchi, he stayed. He took me to the airport. He dropped me at the airport. He stayed, and he ended up in the French embassy with the other journalists, and he took film and photographs of the Khmer Rouge coming into Phnom Penh. And he came out 3 weeks later, and I met him in Bangkok. But in retrospect, if I had stayed, there's a good chance that I would have lost my camera, lost my film, because I'm not so smart as Nauki, who hid it in different places to get it out. And I might have lost all the negatives for these photographs as well. So I think I made the right choice in the end. We had to wait behind sandbags for the plane to come in. And then when the plane was on the ground, it dropped everything and we had to run across the airfield and get on the plane. And there wasn't much time because the Khmer Rouges were just the other side of the airport. They were firing mortar shells into the airport periodically. And this was the last view from the plane. The plane hadn't opened back because it was a freight plane. I think no windows, but an open back so that you could see straight out. And that was goodbye to Cambodia. When we arrived in Bangkok, I was blinded by the lights and the noise and the traffic and the people, and it was a completely different world. And we went into Bangkok. I waited in Bangkok. I met Naoki Mabuchi in Bangkok when he came out, and he had some money. The rest of us didn't have much money. We didn't make any money in Cambodia in 2 years. I left with $50. And anyway, he hadn't made some money because he'd taken this film and all the news agencies wanted it. So he loaned me the money for an air ticket to Japan. And that's how I went to Japan and stayed there quite a long time.